What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Rags to Riches. In our last video, it was sort of all filmed on the same day, so very different concept, and also we were just sort of getting back into the grips of things. Like I said, I was off for about a week or so my head wasn't really in Sorare. So today's video is sort of talking to you guys a bit more about strategy, and now that I've had some time to sit down and think about things, I can maybe perhaps explain things a little bit better to you guys. And I hope you guys are enjoying the content still here on the channel in 2026. I'm excited. I'm trying my best to push this channel to just the best it can be. Obviously, I tweeted out the other day that I did want to try and hit 3,000 subscribers this year. That's sort of my mini goal. I did get met with a lot of replies saying that I should aim for 5,000, and obviously, don't get me wrong, I'm aiming for the best that we can get, but I'm just grateful for the opportunity that you guys have managed to give me to put me in this position to make content as much as I can for you lot. With that being said, if you're enjoying the content, please like, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into Rags to Riches for the week. What is happening, you beautiful people? It is the start of the week, and of course we have results to go over. But just before we go over that, I do want to address some of the comments I've been getting on social media and YouTube, just to briefly cover some things. I know that I will say, usually when people comment on my things, it's for a negative reason, but I do know that a large majority of people will sometimes just watch this video or these videos and be happy and not comment, and that's completely fine. But I do want to address some of the more negative comments. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, like I said, but again, I think it's still good to address them because some of you may be feeling the same way. First things first, I will address the comment of my forward option being pretty poor. Dwight McNeil, I do know that I did kind of say in the video, but maybe I didn't stress it enough, that Dwight McNeil, well, all of these are budget options. This is a budget series, so I'm not going to go out there and just buy the best players in the competition. Any competition that I play, I can't just go and buy whoever I want, because the whole point of the series is effectively, which kind of leads on to my second bit. Effectively, the whole point in this series is to try and spend or deposit as little as possible and just try and play and have fun with Sorare ultimately, and do that in a way where everyone at home can also do the same thing as me. So yeah, if you guys have followed this since episode 1 and done everything that I done, effectively I want you guys to, if you wanted to have the ability to do essentially what I've done. So if I went out and bought just any Premier League team, then it wouldn't really be the same, if you get what I mean. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I don't want to dwell too much on each comment, because some people probably leave it as well. It's the thing with online, obviously it depends how you read things. Like, I could have read that in a negative note, but maybe they meant it in more of a positive note. With that being said, my second comment or thing to address is some people were not happy with me promoting Dabble in the last episode, but I will say I'm going to continue to promote it, because the reason I'm doing so is because it's the same as free cash. Essentially, this series is built on, obviously you can't, unfortunately, hate to break it to you guys, but you can't play Sorare with no money. But my alternative around that is to find other things to make money from, to then put it on Sorare to have fun, if that makes sense. And obviously we make money through free cash. That was the main source of income for this series, and now I'm hopeful to make money on Dabble. A little bit more on that later for those of you guys that are interested. But yeah, essentially, to keep this series going, keep it fresh, keep it alive, new content for you guys, I want to find more ways to make money for free, essentially, and yeah, make the series better. So, sorry, not sorry, essentially, because yeah, like I said, I will promote anything that I am using myself, because it doesn't make sense. Say, for example, if I just randomly told you guys that I won, money from whatever, and then just added it on, it doesn't make sense. I want it to at least be, me to give you some sort of promotion or opportunity for yourself to try and copy me or emulate me, essentially. So for those of you guys that might have missed the last episode, that might not have made any sense, but yeah, like I said, I will be promoting it throughout the videos. So if you're wondering why, then that is why. It's because I'm trying to make the series better. I'm trying to make money through other means, and then put it on Sorare and make this series good. So yeah, enough of the waffle. into the results. As you can see on screen, here is my Premier League team. You can see it pretty much done what I expected it to, in the sense that I knew Dwight McNeil was definitely the weak one out of these five, and we did sort of say we did want Yeremy Pino as like the guy to go in here. I'm happy I didn't buy Yeremy Pino because I'm now sort of questioning it a little bit because I'm not sure. Palace offensively haven't been the best. So I'm still umming and ahhing in this forward position. Fortunately, you're going to see a little bit later on in the video that Dwight McNeil is on to start the next match. So we'll probably use him again in the midweek and then try and find a solution for the weekend. With that being said, we have picked up a few more players, so again, we'll discuss that later on in the video. But this is our Premier League team. You can see it done very, very well. Nearly 400 points. One of our best scores in this series so far, and that is of course because it is in the Premier League where my expertise lies. So very happy with this team, very confident. Like I said, I love Porro, I love Grealish. Lewis Hall and Pope is kind of a no-brainer, although Lewis Hall's probably due a rest at some point. And yeah, McNeil's just sort of a placeholder. So very good. We hit the first. Well, again, something I do have to address is because I play Premier League comp outside of videos, it does mean the streaks are a little bit weird for Premier League, but I am just gonna treat it as if, like, obviously, had I not played it on my account before, then this would have been the first streak, as you guys can see, over 360. So yeah, I'm gonna just say that we hit the streak, even though we didn't, if that makes sense, because, well, I did just hit it with another team, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna say we've hit the first streak in Premier League now, as you guys can see. And then yeah, here is our other squads that we had for the weekend, and you can see 100 bomb from Takefusu Kubu, and Pepe and Malero also with a decisive, and overall that is pretty much it for La Liga. La Liga's just been really poor for me this season, and I put that down to my lack of knowledge in La Liga. And like I said, the whole point of this series to start off with was to adventure into new competitions and become better, and educate myself a bit more in competition that I've never played before. So for those guys that don't know, last year when I played Sorare, I just played Premier League, but I felt, because I'd done the odd budget battles in different comps, but I didn't feel as strong in the other comps, obviously. So this whole point in the series is to explore these new ones. But like La Liga's definitely been a learning curve, which we haven't quite got the hang of yet, but we're trying our best. With that being said, we got some XP, so not too bad, I guess. And then Challenger, McGrath is someone that we might have to look to sell because he's been insane. But we do miss out on the streak in Challenger as well. Only 340, so about 30 points off. But yeah, Pereira didn't do too well. Again, forward positions are kind of lacking in Challenger now. Because obviously our best forwards come from the Turkish league, and they are having their Christmas break, so we've been exposed during Christmas for our poor forwards when the Turkish league is not available, because of course we have Sane and Akgun who usually slot in there for us. So yeah, something to think about, And then what does that all mean for the spreadsheet? You can see I've updated it here, and you can also see we do have a midweek team that I'm going to show you in the Premier League. However, before we get into that, I am going to show you guys the players that I did pick up for the series during the Christmas break. I've got two great ways you guys can earn money for Sorare. Method number one is free cash. Use my link in the description down below to sign up today and start playing apps on your phone and earning money for it. Method two is Dabble, a sports gambling app. When you use the referral code FLINDLE, all in capitals, it will give you £10 in free bets to start off your account. 18 plus, gamble aware, terms and conditions down below. Use these two methods to make money and deposit on Sorare and buy your favourite players. So they are the two great methods that we had to essentially create this series, and a little bit later on I will be discussing my bet for you guys to copy on Dabble, and hopefully we do well and create some more funds for the series to bring in some new and excited players. And as you can see on screen, I've done some spending, like I said, over the Christmas break here, and or it's kind of like a New Year break essentially now. But I've spent some of our funds ahead of ahead of the teams coming back from their break. And you can see here we have 4 new additions to Rags to Riches, and this is exactly what I mean when I say I wanted to get more things on board to fund the series so we can have a bit of fun. So we can bring in some big players like the ones you see on screen here. Starting off with Fisnik Asalani, the forward from Hoffenheim. We have been crying, well, I say that, we have been we have been crying for a Bundesliga forward, but we just seem to get so unlucky every time I buy a forward who is looking good. I just feel like they're cursed. So, watch this space now. Probably Asalani falls off a cliff, or just doesn't play. And I know he is rotating quite heavily. With it's between 3 of them at Hoffenheim, but I have 2 of them now. So I'm hoping that one of them plays. So I have Kramaric and Asalani, and the other one rotating, I think, is Tim something. I can't remember his second name, or I can't pronounce it. But I've got 2 of the 3 now, so that surely means I will have an in-season starting Bundesliga forward. That's the thought process behind that one. And plus, obviously, under 23 Road to Glory legend, we know what Fisnik is all about. And then I have someone, I went and picked up a Ko Itakura, and this is not any sort of like mad strategy or anything like that. This is just a guy that has just been on my radar for a very long time, and I've always wanted him in our Eredivisie comp. I've just never gone to get him for whatever reason, some reason or another. But I really like him as a player, so again, no strategy behind this one, just someone that's been on my shortlist or on my radar for a long time, and I thought now was a good time to buy him. Actually, exactly the same with the midfielder. Again, I'm terrible at pronouncing names, but Hilnison. Probably butchered that, but yeah, these 2 basically have been on my shortlist for a long time, and of course, prices of players are plummeting. They're going down on Sorare now because, of course, less utility as as the season goes on. Prices will just plummet. That's just how it always is on Sorare, because people start to panic. People start to think, oh, we're halfway through the season now. I've got to sell before prices go in the bin, and the drop happens earlier than people expect. And to be honest, I'm not too bothered about that, like losing money on these guys. It's more just I want to play with them and use them and have a bit of fun. So yeah, picked up these 2 because I feel like £3 to £4 pretty fair. And like I said, there'll probably be £1 in a month, but at least I get a month of fun with both of them. And last but not least is a man, again, pure vibe purchase. This is a man who used to play, again, for Cambridge United. And for those of you guys that have followed the series for a long time, you know that I try to pick up ex-Cambridge United players as much as I can, just because that's what Sorare is all about, man. Like, if I could buy an entire Cambridge collection, boy, that would be such a good YouTube series. Like, I'd love to do that. That would be like that's like my end goal essentially. Maybe Sorare in 5 years' time will have the license in for Cambridge. Because for those of you guys that don't know, that is the team, of course, I support in real life, Cambridge United. So yeah, we've got Longello, ex-Cambridge United. He was only there for I think half a season or a season last year. Great player, and I tried to buy him when I bought Meatov, Iredale, Digby. However, he was way too expensive at the start of the season, and that was because he was scoring very, very well for Motherwell at the start of the season. You can see here, this is when I first tried to buy him, and he was just in good form. Since then, he's sort of been on and off, couple of off the bench starts and things like that. So yeah, I think he's sort of, I don't know if he's lost his spot at Motherwell, but I don't really care, because he was so cheap that I was just like, let me just get him because I like him, that kind of vibe. So yeah, so essentially, you guys have now seen the business that we have done over this sort of break, and what does that all mean for the account? Then you can see we have about £13 now, and we do need to really work on our Premier League forward, because that is the area we're really lacking in. With that being said, here is our midweek side. I will show you guys just now. Unlikely to change, although you can see the deadline is tomorrow. However, I don't think it's going to change. I say that, we could change it, and of course I'll update you guys if I do. And if we do change anything, of course it's going to be the glaringly obvious Dwight McNeil. And like I said, we do have £13, so we can get another forward. However, I had a little bit of a look. You know what? I don't do this very often, but let's have a little look together at the Premier League forwards. And I can talk to you guys about my thoughts and feelings behind all of them. Because then, hopefully, if you guys are watching this, you'll maybe if I do it more on video, I can sort of talk to you guys about my thought process. Perhaps that might be a bit better for you guys, so you kind of understand where I'm coming from when it comes to some of these decisions that I do make for the series. So I'm avoiding all the players on the first page for obvious reasons. They're just either not playing or not good enough. So we'll get to around about the sort of, yeah, around this range, like £2 to £3. That's generally sort of how much I spend on this series per player. Not really, like, that's not a definitive rule. Obviously I paid more for more players, but generally speaking I aim for about this sort of price range. Yeah, Alanga I'm pretty sure is injured and just been not great this season. Plus, if I was to use him on the series, I already have his card, so yep. Kluivert is a very interesting one. Again, someone that I'm extremely tempted. Again, I have his card already, so I could use him in this series if I wanted to. And that is someone that I might do. That is, honestly, the next clip that plays, it could be me putting Kluivert into the midweek team. Very close to doing that. So outside of that, I'm not really interested in any of these players. Welbeck's a bit too, maybe a bit too old, and I'm not really too confident. I'm not the biggest fan, for those of you guys that know me. I'm not the biggest fan of having strikers as my forward. Hence Dwight McNeil. Hence Kluivert is not really a striker. I prefer the players that are like in behind the striker or wingers. So yeah, Barnes just not nailed in the starting lineup. All of these other ones are strikers, so not really too interested. And the reason I say that is because they don't get enough AA for me. Like Evan Nilsson, I really like, but he just doesn't get AA. Look, he's either getting 40 or 60 if he scores. You know what I mean? I like the players. I like the wingers. Okay, that's double decisive. Again, asking for them to get a double decisive, you would. Most players, you know, I'll put it like this: if a winger gets a double decisive, he's getting over 80. You know what I mean? So, yeah, generally speaking, in my opinion, wingers are pretty good to go for, or players that play in behind, just because they get more AA. None of these players really stick out to me. Madueke is one that's super interesting, actually. One that I'm very, very tempted by. The only problem with him is will he play? Pretty much. If he was like yeah, I don't know. Madueke is one that I definitely could see myself purchasing, but I'm not too sure. And then the other players that I looked at are players that are on AFCON at the moment. So Ismaili Sarr is interesting to me, but again, no use to me right now, so not much point. Yeah, Wissa striker. Yeah, Karupi is an interesting one, but £8 is just a bit too much in my opinion. So yeah, and then we've got Pino is really the only other guy that is interesting. But again, Palace have not been the best going forward, so yeah. And then the only other man I did definitely look at and and about was Iliman Ndiaye, but again, AFCON. So yeah, there's a few names here that interest me, but for one reason or another, they're just not really. They're just not, you know what I mean? They're just not clicking for whatever reason. So I think that, to be honest, Kluivert is probably the only one that makes sense. But I've remembered why I didn't want to use Kluivert now, and that is because Kluivert is playing against Tottenham, and of course we have Pedro Porro. So yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do, but that is our current situation here in the midweek. If you are new to Sorare and you want to support a small creator in myself, then I would really appreciate if you use my link in the description down below to sign up. And of course, you'll receive all the best referral slash welcome bonuses using the link down below in the description. Thank you. Back during the midweek for a little update for you guys. Of course, in the last clip, I was umming and ahhing about forwards in the Premier League, and lucky I didn't play or didn't choose to get Kluivert because it did come out that he is injured. So good job, past Josh for not buying him, even though I already had him. But you know what I mean. And we do pick up two new players in the series, as you can see, Lokonga from Hamburg and Dompe. Now, we already have a Hamburg player in Balde, but I know Dompe is like pretty much nailed. Pretty much their best forward player. And Hamburg, obviously not the most insane team in Bundesliga, but I like Lokonga, and that was a big reason why I wanted to get some Hamburg players, to be honest. And we done a big trade for Lokonga, and it involved us getting rid of pretty much our entire JPL contingency to get him in. And the reason that I done this is because, of course, we moved on into the Premier League now. And a lot of our funds went towards that. And I think JPL has been a bit neglected from us. So I thought, you know what, let's get rid of the JPL stuff for now and focus on some of the other comps. So we have improved our Bundesliga sides, which was quite important actually because Bundesliga was dropping behind a little bit with injuries and stuff like that. I also did sell a couple of other JPL pieces. I can't remember if I showed them on video, but all in all, pretty much nearly all of our JPL cards are gone now, except a few that I can't sell. But yeah, I thought I would update you guys and let you know that they all sold. And of course, like I said, we have brought in Dompe and Lokonga for the Bundesliga sides. And just to reiterate or recap, I didn't change any of. I did change one thing in our Premier League side, and that was I gave the armband to Grealish because I'm pretty sure that Lewis Hall isn't going to play tonight. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I think Livramento might rotate in. Not 100% sure, of course, but and you guys will see the results of it in this video here today. But yeah, a quick update in the midweek. We have brought and sold more players here on Rags to Riches right before we reveal our lineups for the weekend. But before we go on and reveal who we did purchase and who we did sell, a quick reminder, I did speak about it earlier on in the video, but this is the dabble bet that we are going with for this series. So that means that if this one lands, then of course I can use the budget for this series. I will say as well, Dabble's promo ends today when you guys are watching this for the free £10 with no deposit required. So if you guys do want to follow this bet, you've got to be quick to put it on. And of course this is literally kickoff for Feyenoord is going to be at 11, so literally as soon as you see this video, if you have time, feel free to follow this. Of course, if you do miss this, if you are watching this video late, but you're still watching it on the Sunday, I believe you can still get the £10 free bet on the Sunday, but after Sunday, the promo is expired, so just so you guys know. Of course, like I said before previously in the video, I am promoting the things that I'm using to try and get money for free, so hopefully, yeah, this one lands. And of course, the dabble bet that I showed in the last video unfortunately did not land, so we can't use any of the money from that one, which is unfortunate. But without any further ado, here are the players that we did bring in for Rags to Riches. As you can see on screen, we have got Rayo Hatate, who is going to be a replacement player for someone that we have sold here on the series. And we have bought Ismaili Sarr, who is going to be our Dwight McNeil replacement. Now, I was going to get Jeremy Pino, but it's just a little bit more expensive than Sarr at the moment. And when Dwight McNeil yeah, anyway, it's hard to explain without showing you guys the team, but and okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and visualize my Premier League team, my Rags to Riches team right now because I haven't got it on the screen. Or we have the two here, but pretty much because Grealish got a red card in his last Premier League match, which I do need to show you guys the results of. That has just reminded me. Do you know what? Let's go ahead and click into it so I can show you guys why I have bought Ismaili Sarr. Sorry, it's much better if I show you guys. So there we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. So I don't know why I didn't just show you guys this anyway, because I needed to show it in the video. Here's the results. Yeah, nothing. Well, nothing really happened from any of the players. No one really played that great. Lewis Hall did actually play, which is good. I thought he wasn't going to, hence why I gave Grealish the armband. But yeah, Grealish got a red card. So pretty much, I bought Dwight McNeil for 2 game weeks, and the theory was to sell him this game week and put Jeremy Pino in. However, because Grealish has got a red card, it makes me think that Dwight McNeil is going to now play the next game as well because Grealish is suspended. So then that means that I am going to be using, or again, someone you guys didn't see there. Essentially, that means that the next game week we can use Dwight McNeil in the forward position, which then means after that game week we can use players that are at AFCON, hence the Ismaili Sarr. So then that would mean next game week all I need is a midfielder. So pretty much before these games happened, I needed a new forward for next game week. However, because Grealish has got a red card, now we need a midfielder, and we don't need a forward because I think McNeil will play. Are you with? Hopefully, you guys are with me. So I have added a guy to this series by the name of Alex Scott. So Alex Scott is going to be involved in the series now. I've put him down as £2 because that's what he is on the market right now. So essentially, there's where we're at. So next game week, in the next video, you guys are going to see this team, but with Alex Scott and probably Captain Lewis Hall. And then I bought Ismaili Sarr for the next video, where we're going to have this team, but no Dwight McNeil, and we're going to have Ismaili Sarr. And then our backups are going to be Dwight McNeil and Alex Scott. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's quite hard to visualise because I'm struggling to visualise it myself. But yeah, essentially we have signed Scott, Ismaili Sarr, and then we've got Rio Hatate because we have sold a challenger midfielder by the name of Jamie McGrath because he was £10.35 and we definitely didn't pay that much for him. I think we paid about £5 or £6, so double the profit. No brainer, really. Rio, of course, plays for Celtic, who are a great team, so I have no doubt that he will do well. And yeah, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he plays, and we can use him this game week. And we did also sell. Takafusu Kubu. But again, good profit, and it was a classic card. And although we do need forwards in La Liga, we didn't need him for this game week. With that being said, let's go into the lineups ahead of this weekend. Back with the lineup phase here for Rags to Riches, and I will say in the video here today, I'm only going to be showing you guys my selected lineups, the ones that I have built for the video here today, and you'll have to come back to the channel on Tuesday to see exactly why that is, and that is because we are doing something quite fun, a different type of video on Tuesday, so make sure you come back and see what we have done. But nonetheless, as you can see in La Liga, I've gone with this team on the right with Carmona captain because of course we've got Aziz in there and the rest sort of pick themselves. Moving on into the Bundesliga, you can see we've gone similar vibe really with Fredo and Mio being partnered up with the armband being on the defender and then the rest sort of picking themselves if you like. Looking on into the Eredivisie, this is our only lineup for the Eredivisie, the only one possible actually, because I think one of the games did get called off, which forces our hand to pick this team, which honestly isn't that bad to be honest. I'm still pretty happy with it, and let's see how they get on over the weekend. Last but not least is our challenger team here today, and as you can see, pretty much Aberdeen defensive stack, and pray that they do well at home against Rangers, but you know, quite a difficult fixture for them, so we'll see how we get on. So there you guys have it. There is another episode of Rags to Riches rounded up. I hope you guys did enjoy and appreciate this one. Of course, filmed over the week, so a little bit more structure to it than the last one. But I did still kind of enjoy just a different dynamic with the last one. Just, you know, click and record and then just going crazy with it is a bit fun and interesting. But of course, this one a bit more structured. We know what's going on, and of course, we've got some new and exciting adventures and paths to go down with Dabble. Hopefully, we can create something in this series quite magical, where not only I can benefit from it, but hopefully you guys can at home too. If you guys have enjoyed the content, please remember to like, subscribe if you're new. Catch you guys in a future video. Peace.